Amazingly, it's not rocket science, as they say. It has to do with the starting pitching, and tonight Chad Bettis takes the baseball.
Yeah, and he just hopes to follow up what he did against San Francisco, because that was a pretty dynamic outing for Chad. You think about this. He went 8 1/3 in that ball game. He is the first Rockies pitcher to go into the 9th inning this year. He got his numbers inflated somewhat in the 9th with the 4 hits, a couple runs tacked on. But between the 1st and the 8th inning, he'd only given up 2 hits, and one of those was a leadoff hit. This game, he had everything working. He had his fastball, his big overhand curveball, his changeup, and when he needed a double play, he also got that. It was so much fun talking to Chad after the ball game that day, because you could just see the excitement in his eyes. He wanted to finish that game. He wanted a complete game, but it was nice to just see the energy from him saying, I'm glad I'm a starter again.
You're talking about a guy with a power arm, and he had picked up a couple ticks on his fastball, staying over the rubber a little bit longer. He was 94, 95 most of that baseball game. Yet amazingly, 85 pitches going into the 9th inning with a shutout.
A lot of quick outs there, and so what he was doing, he was getting the Giants off balance on their swings, going up there and automatically feeling defensive when they stepped into the box.
And he pitched pretty well his previous start against the Philadelphia Phillies, so he is looking to build on the last 2 outings. We are set for baseball. The Rockies, after taking 2 of 3 from Cincinnati, march into Philadelphia. It's Colorado. It's Philadelphia. Come on back with us. It is a lovely Friday evening as the weekend kicks off in Philadelphia, PA. We're at Citizens Bank Park And that man, Steve Carl, makes his home in Durango, Colorado. Pretty good left-hander. Pretty good left-hander the Rockies are facing tonight as well. Cole Hamels will be on the hill. And the Rockies getting together with the Phillies for the second time in the last week and a half. They split a 4-game set at Coors Field. Brandon Barnes going to lead things off for the Rockies, loading up on as many right-handed bats as possible against Hamels. And Brandon has done a marvelous job since being called back to the big leagues. Here's the Southwest batting order. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Walt Weiss has DJ LeMahieu batting .338, top 3 in the league in hitting. He'll bat second. Then Tulowitzki and Cargo. Nolan Arenado, what a series he had in Cincinnati. Willie Rosario at .296. Nick Hundley swinging the bat very well. Rafael Inoue in left batting 8th. And Chad Bettis will bat 9th. We are ready for baseball. Glad, of course, that you're along with us. And the first pitch tonight for Cole Hamels is too tall, ball 1.
Talk about a tall order. It's going up against Cole Hamels this year. And you reference why there was only one left-handed bat in the lineup. Well, that's because he's just giving up a batting average of 127 against.
Well, Cole Hamels making his 11th start, Huey. He was a little rough initially, but he is as good as any pitcher in baseball the last month.
Yeah, he's won each of his last 4 starts with a 1.53 ERA during that time, walking just 5, striking out 29 in those 29 and a third innings.
Well, the dastardly pitch is the one you just saw. That's the changeup, and it is as good as any left-handed changeup in the game.
It just comes up there, and it appears to stop about 3/4 of the way to home plate when you go to make your swing.
And again, it's a lot to cover for a hitter because, as players will say, he's really firm. I mean, he's 92 to 94, 95 with his fastball.
And then his changeup is 84. So enough variance where you sit there and you're hoping you can keep that bat in the zone long enough, but then you can't.
3-2. Carlos Ruiz puts down the sign, and that pitch is fouled back. The fastball at 94. So the Rockies had yesterday off after winning 6-4 Wednesday in Cincinnati. The Phils are just happy to be home. They've played much better at home than they have had on the road. They are a miserable road team, and they've lost 4 consecutive games coming in. They were just swept at Citi Field against the Mets. And the strikeout on a changeup of Barnes.
That's what makes him so good. 3-2 changeup that's well located and then down in the zone.
He'll throw it in any count. Well, DJ LeMahieu is riding a 10-game hitting streak, hitting .405 during that stretch. What is unbelievably impressive, the .500 batting average here toward the end of May, with runners in scoring position, second best in the game. And that's why he's earned more opportunities to bat in the 2 spot. And, you know, Walt likes doing it because you have a really productive hitter up there, but then you lose the bonus of having him bat 8th, where he is as good an 8th place hitter as there is in the game. And that is caught. Odubel Herrera thought was going to try to field that on a hop, but it was hit so well it carried to him. So it's line out. They're 2 gone. That'll bring up Tulowitzki. Defensively for Philadelphia, Cody Ashwood just brought back today, and this is an experiment, him playing left field. He's always been a third baseman. Odubel Herrera is in center. Ben Revere does not have a right fielder's arm, not even close. Keep that in mind as the evening progresses. Franco, Galvis, Utley, and Howard in the infield with Chooch, Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. And Tulo, I asked him, this is so Tulowitzki. I asked him around the batting cage today. I said, "What'd you do on your day off?" We're just, having a conversation. He said, "I hit."
Go to a movie, grab a nice meal.
Some guy, go fishing, walk around the city, relax, sleep in. He hit.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Troy wants to be one of the best in the game, and right now his numbers aren't there.
But this is a big fly deep left field, and yesterday's work pays off. First home run for Tulowitzki in a long time, and the Rockies take a 1-0 lead. And you all rest, you all take a day off. I'm going to work on my craft.
And then a Rockies fan catches the ball.
Gotta love it.
Good for Troy. You come out in your off day, you take some extra swings. You're saying, man, I need to get my swing back. It's not right. I haven't hit a home run in it seems like a month. And then he goes out and he takes the first fastball after he fouled that one back and takes it out to left field.
First home run, Huey, since April the 25th.
Yeah, I thought it was 24, 25 games.
How good that must feel for Troy.
The 9th home run given up by Cole Hamels.
This ball sharply hit, and that's going to sneak through the 3 on the right side alignment. And Cargo has a base hit here in the first, coming off a 2-for-5 performance. So here's Nolan with an 880 OPS, leads the club. This ball is popped up on the infield. It's right around the mound, and Maikel Franco is going to make the catch. First home run for Tulowitzki, and it's the first home run in the last 4 starts allowed by Cole Hamels. They have a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the first. And Ben Revere will lead things off for Philadelphia. And let's take a look at the Southwest lineup for Rhino. Ryan Sandberg. Freddie Galvis will bat second. He's batting .303, though he struggled against the Rockies. Chase Utley's really come on. I know it doesn't look like that with a 188 average, but he's been swinging it well of late. Ryan Howard's having a big May. Maikel Franco, Cody Ashe will bat 6th, then Odubel Herrera, Carlos Ruiz, and Hamels. And the first pitch from Chad Bettis. This is ball 1. One of the things that was so impressive, of many impressive things from Bettis' last performance, is he started most hitters with strike 1. I think it was 20 out of 27.
Yeah, and for Chad, that was so important for his confidence. Just go out there and say, I know I have the stuff. I want to prove it. I'm back starting again where I like to be. I'm not going to bounce around between the bullpen starting. If I don't make it, are they going to move me back there? He knows he's got a clear mind now.
How about that changeup? You want to talk about the changeup of Hamels? That was a 2-1 changeup. That thing dropped about 1.5 feet, 2-2.
Then we'll go back to the dugout and talk it.
And there was a good curveball. And that's what he had in Denver that got him to the 9th inning. You said it during the pregame, he had all the pitches working, and he had a marvelous curveball.
And this falls off the table. It's like dropping it off the kitchen counter. You just roll the ball across, and it starts about the belt and drops to the ankles.
So many things to like for Chad. The makeup, we talk about his toughness. The last couple of starts, his tempo's been, give me the baseball, I'm getting right back on the rubber.
Well, he knows how important it is. And when you're standing on the mound, you want to have the guys engaged that are behind you. And if you dilly-dally around and you kind of walk around, it'll put those guys to sleep.
Galvis takes outside, 1 ball, 1 strike on Freddie. Taking over the shortstop spot from Jimmy Rollins. Look out.
That's up.
Looks like everybody's okay. 1 and 2 on Galvis. Just 3 for 23 in that 4-game series against the Rockies.
I thought they pitched him extremely well.
Well, Dick Monfort, he ducked, and Bo ducked, so everybody's okay. And this is popped out of play. One, two, that bounces up there, so it's 2 and 2. Good fastball at 93, and he wastes that one. They're getting
the same area.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of baseballs in that little neighborhood.
But wait a second. Make sure you pay attention over the dugout.
It's 3 and 2. The last shortstop before Galvis to start, not named Jimmy Rollins for Philadelphia, was Desi Relaford in 2000. And that's tracked down nicely by Brandon Barnes. The good wheels, 2 outs.
Great jump. Let's take a look on our first bank pitch arsenal from Chad Bettis in his last start Sunday against San Francisco. What did he throw? We talked about his fastball. It was the 2-seamer, the 4-seamer, the changeup, and then the big curveball. That was his strikeout pitch. A couple sliders mixed in, but primarily the curveball when he got ahead and needed the strikeout. 2 changeups that were thrown to the left-handed hitters. And that was the key. The lefties that he kept off balance. He threw the changeup to those guys.
2 outs, nobody on Chase Utley, who was 6 for 14 in the series in Denver against the Rockies. Overall, he's got a 9-game hitting streak going against Rockies pitching, 389 average during that stretch. He began the year in the worst slump of his career. That's a strike. And he's slowly extracting himself from that.
Well, I'm just looking back at my book. When he came into Colorado 10 days ago, 11 days ago, he was hitting 138.
Big hill to climb. That's another strike, 1 and 2. Utley saying something under his breath to either himself or maybe he didn't like the call by Angel Hernandez. Listen, when you hit 114 in May, I know 253 doesn't sound like great shakes, but it's a whole lot better.
Makes you feel like you hit the lottery is what it makes you feel like.
I feel like a human being again.
You still don't want to look up at the big board.
You know, it's amazing because Utley's had a marvelous career. Tulowitzki's had a marvelous career. He's in the middle of his prime talking about Troy. When you look up there and you don't see numbers that look like numbers you've put up, it's still hard. It's a ground ball to Troy. And he throws to first, and a very strong start for Chad Bettis. Rockies got a home run from Tulowitzki in the first. They're up 1-0.
It is a Fan Friday, so of course we want you to hit us up at RootSports_RM. That's our Twitter handle. Hit us up. Use the hashtag Fan Friday. And I've got some news about winning tickets to see the Zach Brown Band. I'll tell you about that coming up. But we got something special for you tonight. And I can see Drew and Huey, so we'll take your questions. Everybody can answer whatever you got. They're right in front of me, right? Drew, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mark.
Yes?
Have I told you lately
what?
that my new favorite group the last year and a half is the Zach Brown Band?
That's good because they're playing at Coors Field.
I am so excited.
On
my
July
family's
3rd.
all going. I'm excited for them. I'm going to have to live vicariously through them.
Because there's a game on the road.
Because there's a
You're
game
going to be in Arizona.
Right, and Huey's not, and
I'm
Huey's
not.
going to be at the concert.
Well,
and
I might do the pregame show, sneak over, see a
really?
couple sets.
So I like
do the postgame show.
I like Huey. I like Huey a little less today because he gets to go.
We got details on that coming up, so stay tuned.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. 0-2 count on Willeen. That's way inside with a fastball. 1-2. Willeen's had success in battling Cole Hamels in his career. He's taken him deep a couple times.
6 for 15. Couple home runs, 4 RBIs.
His fastball away, and it's 2-2. Willeen made one start in the Cincinnati series, went 0 for 4. Sharply hit, but Galvis is right there. He went out. And that'll bring up Nick Hunley. Nick's had 2 full days off because Mike McHenry did the catching Wednesday afternoon. It freshens up the legs, or the quads take a beating if you're a catcher, not to mention the forearms.
Well, it played out perfectly with the day game in Cincinnati and then the off day here to get those 48 hours. Nick was bouncing around during batting practice. He always does something that's pretty interesting to me because most guys will do their sprint work before the game, 15-20 minutes, but since he's catching, he's not able to do that. So he'll take a round of BP and then he'll go run 2 or 3 sprints down the line and then come back and take his next round of BP. So he gets all his work done at that time so he can go catch the starting pitcher.
You want to ignite those muscles as close to game time, sprinting muscles. I'm sure you've said this a lot in coaching. You don't want the first time you're running all out when you're trying to leg out an infield hit in the first inning.
The only guy I could see doing that, and the guy I played with, was Ken Griffey Jr. He could do that.
When he was young and he was known as the kid, he could roll out of bed.
He would. Now, to his defense, he would come out and take early batting practice every chance he could. Boy, he would hit forever, and then game would be at 7 o'clock. At 6:55, he'd grab his mitt and sprint out to center, and if you needed a ball, run down in the gap. He was doing it.
Two and two. Outside 3-2. Yeah, what an unbelievable talent.
Oh my. He's in the top 5 of guys that I've played with, just pure athletic ability. And a good guy.
But you know what? See Nick wiping his brow. I was talking to Nolan about this earlier. He said, how good does it feel to be in heat? Because it's warm out there tonight, folks. And Nolan said, oh, it's awesome. I mean, we've had rough weather back home. No other way to describe it. And it's been cool. It's going to be warm the first part of the week, which is great. But Nolan said, you know what? You don't have to warm up the back. Everything feels great. And Nick Hunley just keeps on hitting. Another base hit for Nick. That'll move that 317 average up some. And he had not had great success against Cole Hamels. Good at bat all the way around. Just his second career hit in 15 at bats against Hamels.
Now he's hitting 22 out of his last 26 ball games.
You think about this, Huey, and everybody who follows the Rockies knows this, and the 2 guys I'm going to mention know it above all else because they put so much heat on them. On themselves, but you know, DJ LeMahieu's having an all-star year. Nolan Arenado's evolving into a superstar player. Nick Hundley's come to the Rockies, and he has had really a borderline all-star caliber first half. And the two guys in the middle who have struggled are obviously Cargo and Tulo. Tulo hits a home run tonight. When those guys get going, and you know they're going to get going, then you're talking about you really have something.
Yeah, and for Troy to come out and take early batting practice yesterday on an off day, and that shows me that he's not satisfied, nor should he be satisfied, because I just look at the back of the bubblegum card. All the stats you accumulate over the years, those numbers don't lie. I mean, you don't just make those numbers up and put them back there. Otherwise, everybody would.
You know, you've had a lot of conversations with guys when you were playing, and Troy and I were talking about this earlier. So it's not like somebody else jumped in your body all of a sudden, or in the past, to put up all those numbers. Same thing with Cargo. You know, and sometimes you talk about a player at an advanced age. I'm sure that Chase Utley, for instance, maybe an element of doubt creeped in his mind when he was having the miserable April. He's always taken great care of himself. He's been an elite player, been an MVP. He's been that type of player. And he's in his middle, late 30s now. So you go, maybe I've slowed down. Maybe the bat speed isn't there. But in the case of Raffy beats it up the line. In the case of Troy and Cargo, they are in the midst of their prime.
Right, so those numbers aren't going to last forever.
Right.
And it also shows you how hard this game is. Even the best players on the game, they have struggles. They might have some self-doubt. I mean, you're talking about Chase Utley, maybe it's the age, whatever. Even the great players. Man, can I still hit? Can I do this? Can I? It happens to everybody that's put on a big league uniform.
But as opposed to somewhere they may say, boy, maybe Father Time is creeping in.
Right.
Cargo knows, first of all, he's still too young to worry about Father Time just yet. And he feels great. His body is healthy. In the case of Troy, he's 30 years old. So it's not, again, you're not talking about a 37-year-old guy, 38-year-old guy. Bettis takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Chad. 2 outs. Rafael Ynoa at first.
Let's remember this conversation. So the middle of September, when we look at the numbers and see where they're at. Because remember when back in Philadelphia we were talking about this at the end of May?
Well, they generally find their baseline. If you've established yourself in this game, I mean, you're going to have some outlier years, you know, some on the positive side, and sometimes some on the not as positive side, but there's still there's not usually enormous departures from what you've put up in the past.
No, because if you go to Baseball Reference, what do they say at the bottom of their name and stuff? They say 162 game average.
Average over 162 games. Yep. So if nothing else, Bettis is going to force Hamels to throw 6 pitches to him. It's 3-2. Cole Hamels, 31-year-old, coveted by virtually every team in baseball. And Bettis takes strike 3. Rockies are up 1-0, middle of 2 on the Tulowitzki home run, his first in more than a month. Root Sports is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Let's go places. By the Colorado Lottery, expect the unexpected. And by Southwest Airlines, book your low fare now at southwest.com. Becky, is that the Ben Franklin Bridge right there? That's the Ben Franklin Bridge. Takes you from Camden, New Jersey over to Philadelphia, PA. How about that? Becky, our longtime stage manager here in Philadelphia. Always good to see Becky. I had to borrow her cheaters because she had shrunk the billboards.
Oh, that's not nice.
No, you can't shrink the billboards. Ryan Howard has not shrunk. He actually has a little bit. He's 22 pounds lighter. He will lead things off, and the first pitch is bounced at Willeen Rosario, and he'll go underhanded to Chad Bettis. One pitch, one out. Gotta like it.
Kind of like what he did against San Francisco numerous times.
Well, this is a really aggressive team.
Yeah, they're one of the top teams as far as fewest pitches seen per plate appearance.
Yeah, I mean, they're teams that go up there and they pack a lunch and a backpack. The Phillies bring none of that.
Nope.
They barely make footprints in the batter's box. They're there and they're gone. Maikel Franco takes high, ball one. The only team that takes fewer pitches or sees fewer pitches per plate appearance in the National League, the Arizona Diamondbacks, interestingly. And the Reds, we were discussing that the other day, Huey, George and I, that the Reds are a super aggressive team. They fire at a lot of first pitches. Maikel Franco takes a big old hack on a 2-0 fastball. It's 2-1.
Maikel is the reason why Cody Ashe, the next hitter on deck for Philadelphia, is now playing left field. They need to get this youngster in the lineup, and the only place he could play was third base. So they go, Ashe, you need to go down to AAA to learn how to play left.
Ryan Sandberg. They like Franco a lot. He's got a good glove, and they think he's really going to hit in time, hit for power. Nolan Arenado, he's got a good glove, and he makes the catch. 2 outs. 2 outs, and Cody Ashe comes back up. Ashe was struggling. In fact, he had an 0 for 23 spell. He was sent down to Lehigh Valley, and he was brought back today. And what was a really good story is not going to end well for Philadelphia from Grady Sizemore's perspective. He was designated for assignment to make room for Ashe. And the first pitch in there for a strike. Angel Hernandez is behind home plate, veteran umpire. Scott Barry at first. Ted Barrett's the crew chief. Ted's at second. Chris Conroy is at third. Shift on for Ashe, and he bounces it right into the shift. Those are quick and efficient innings, kind of like what we saw in his last outing against the Giants. Chad Bettis, 6 up, 6 set down. Rockies up 1-0.
Friday, so we need you to use the hashtag FanFriday, then ZBB for the Zach Brown Band. Zach Brown Band coming to Coors Field on July 3rd. That's a Friday. Every Fan Friday through the end of June, we're going to give away a pair of tickets randomly. It's not like radio, like we got to take the 10th caller. We're not going to do like farm sounds or anything like that. We just need you to use that hashtag FanFriday ZBB. And we've already got one that came in for the Zach Brown Band, as this is a fly ball to right. And it's a selfie, I think, that came in from none other than Jenny and Spilly. You'll see it here. But I got to tell you guys that you cannot win. You're part of the network. It's that whole deal. People that are associated with the network, you can't win. We're going to do this randomly every Friday through the end of June. All right, Drew, Jeff, you got that?
Can I see it in writing, please?
What was the thing about animal sounds?
That's a radio,
thing.
Yeah, you know, you play along with the games and you listen to songs and then you write it down. Hashtag FanFriday ZBB.
This is a well-known fact about Mark Stout. Mark, a long time, prior to his television career, FM disc jockey. He was a rocker.
Yeah, but you wanted to go to the concert tomorrow night in Philly, 92XTU. It's their 31st anniversary.
So you're on that, right?
I could probably
three of us.
Yeah.
Mark?
Darius Rucker, Brett Eldridge,
We're in.
10,000 horses.
We're in.
After the game?
Absolutely.
After the game.
All right, see if I can do something.
See, and he's from back this way.
Yeah.
He's a Jersey kid.
He knew all the radio stations.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he was rattling off all the
He knows all the DJs, too. He started on WKRP in Cincinnati with Venus Flytrap.
That's a good one.
You know what? We loved you on that show, by the way. 1-1 on DJ. That's outside. Man, it's a beautiful day today in Philadelphia. One of the great ballpark sites we have. That swung on and missed. You go around, we talk about AT&T Park and the view of the bay. Look at the city in the backdrop. Downtown Philadelphia.
A lot of the players and some of the staff went over to the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall.
This is line to left, and that's not going to get down. So twice DJ LeMahieu's hit it on the button, and twice he's got nothing to show for it. He lined out to center, and now he lines out to Ashe in left.
Well, both times the outfielders had to make clean breaks on the baseball.
So here's Tulo, and here's what he did in his first AB.
This is the second pitch. He fouled the first one straight back. When that happens, you tell yourself, man, I was on that one. Give me another one, and I'll do some damage with it, and he did.
Yeah, Troy was throwing out his hits and stuff, but he's used to slugging, and you know he hasn't been doing that. And believe me, nobody drives any harder than Tulowitzki.
Self-motivated.
Oh, he's just consumed by the game, and he's consumed by winning and performing at a level that he has set for himself.
Spilly and I were talking about it over dinner the other night, guys, that just have that inner drive, the refuse to lose type of drive that you need. You would think that everybody has it at the big league level. Some guys don't. They just get by because they're great athletes.
We've discussed that before. Not everybody is driven the same way. That's the 1-2. And that's a high drive, deep left field. He just did it again. 2 for 2, 2 bombs for Troy Tulowitzki. Is that another Rockies fan? Close enough. He's wearing a black top. That'll work. First one landed in a Rockies fan's lap. So Troy Tulowitzki looking a whole lot like Troy Tulowitzki tonight in Philadelphia.
11th career multi-home run game for Troy. And this one, again, I just like the reaction of Cole Hamels. He lets go of it and then just puts his hands on his hips because he knows it's gone. The last time he did it was last year, July 9th, against the Padres.
One on Cargo. Fastball's down and in. 1-1. That's looking more and more like a well-spent day off. You go sightsee. I'm going to be at the batting cage.
But that's not always the case. A lot of guys will put in extra batting practice, and it might take 3 or 4 games before you see immediate results. But when that happens, and when you do, and you get immediate, man, that makes all those sweat and extra rounds you took impressive.
Cargo grounds out to end the inning, but once again, Tulowitzki goes deep, and the Rockies now lead 2-0 against Cole Hamels and the Phils. The third, the Rockies up 2-0, and when the Rockies hit home runs, as much as maybe any team in baseball, it generally means they're going to be successful. Largest win differential when the Rockies hit more than 1 home run. Without a home run, their winning percentage is 176. We know that's not good, but when they do hit a home run or 2 or more, it's 571. We got 2 solo shots tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike on Odubel Herrera against Chad Bettis. Misses 2-1.
Herrera was a kid they got from the Texas Rangers in the Rule 5 draft.
3-1.
Well, part of the reason why they drafted him, he was the Texas League batting champ last year, and he also led the Venezuela Winter League in hitting. Phenomenal changeup on a 3-1 count.
You know, that's Hamel-esque. Don't
well, you
give
have
in.
to. You cannot feed fastballs every time when you fall behind in a count.
This is popped up. Nolan Arenado chasing, and also look out.
Oh.
Inoa, wow. What an effort by Inoa. Slid, popped up, got leather on it.
And it popped out of his glove.
And then he rolled into the first row almost. That's an extraordinary effort by a guy. We talked about Cody Ashley becoming an outfielder. Rafael Ynoa doesn't have much experience out there either.
Watch the corner where he's sliding. He doesn't know where the corner of the wall is. This isn't his ballpark. He's not familiar with playing left field. He's wondering, if I slide, am I going to hit that wall, or am I going to have enough room to slide past it? And his knee just caught, almost like a pop-up slide when you're going into second base. And when he popped up, it caused the ball to eject out of the glove.
That's the greatest non-catch you will see in baseball tonight. This is in the air to Cargo in right center. 1 out. With every challenge called, the Subaru eyesight review will determine the outcome of love. It's what makes a Subaru. And through this season, the manager's reviews, 22.7% confirmed. It's been 47+% overturned. They've done a really good job in New York doing it in an expeditious fashion. Just a minute 46 for those reviews. Carlos Ruiz with 1 out. It Conley sets up in the middle of the plate. The fastball's there.
Chet gets the ball back on the hill. There's not more than 12, 14 seconds before a pitch is delivered again.
And Tulo's got the second out.
Moline thought there was 3 outs. He started to run off the field. Sorry. I want to go hit.
That's what happens when you know your number's coming up the next inning.
Okay, catch it. Here I go. We're just going to throw it around. I just need to get a little exercise.
Well, last inning, the number of pitches thrown was about the same, so and there were 3 outs recorded, so he figured out it's about enough. Time to get off the field.
I want to go grab my bat.
I like playing hitter. Cole Hamels fouls it off. Ball and a strike on the native Californian. You got to pitch legitimately to Hamels.
Ooh, just looks like a hitter. Some pitchers will stand there, but they'll have the bat just resting on their shoulder. You know they're not going to take a swing until they get 2 strikes, and that's even going to be only because I have to.
What a great start for Chad Bettis. He's retired the first 9. That's his second strikeout. The Rockies up 2-0 on a pair of Tulowitzki home runs. Nothing. about the big hits from Nolan Arenado against the Cincinnati Reds. Hit a 3-run home run in the first against Mike Leake on Wednesday. Rockies had the quick 3-0 start. They went on to a 6-4 victory behind Nolan Arenado's bat. Arenado went 5 for 11 with a couple home runs, 6 driven in that series against the Reds.
We'll even go back to that game Sunday in Denver. Those last 4 games hitting .563, 4 home runs, or 3 home runs, 10 RBIs in those last 4 games.
Yeah, he had the 4 hits on Sunday.
Yes.
Jumped the average up almost 30 points. So there was a wild affair last night between the Asheville Tourists and Augusta. And Nolan, on his off day, in addition to walking around, just kind of resting, was listening to that ball game because his brother Jonah was hitting cleanup for Augusta, San Francisco Giants A-ball affiliate in the Sally League, and Asheville, obviously, the Rockies affiliate in the Sally League. And Fuentes, his cousin, plays for the Rockies. Both were hitting cleanup for their respective clubs. Now, Jonah's doing really well for Augusta. And there was not 1, not 2, but 3 skirmishes during that game. And I said to Nolan, well, I hope your cousin and I hope your brother were the they got together and hugged it out.
Sure was a group text message that went back and forth.
Right, exactly. And Dick Monfort.
Yeah, Dick was talking about it because he had been down to the game.
Right, he was down there. It's like it was ridiculous.
The first guy, and the first guy, he charged the mound after getting hit by a pitch where it just grazed his jersey.
That was his center fielder for Augusta.
Right, so he charged the mound immediately, and then the 20-year-old kid on the hill pitching, and he grazes the jersey, and you're going to charge the mound. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It does. Two balls and a strike. Celine wanted that pitch back. Tell you what, it's a little different right now coming to Citizens Bank. It's a good crowd, but it's not the sellouts we're so accustomed to seeing. And this ball lined to center field, and backing up is Herrera. 2 outs. Who wants tacos? If the Rockies score 7 or more in any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day, and make sure you do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Nick Hundley, a base hit to left his first time. Moved the average up 6 points to 323. Hundley earlier in the month had a 13-game hitting streak, longest of his career.
He said when Chase Utley was a play, when you're hitting 188, you won't look up at the big board, but when you're hitting 323, you'll look up there and kind of dig yourself for a little bit. Say, oh yeah, I'm good.
Keep your hand out.
Just time out. I just need to stretch.
Right. Look up there on that board. That's me. Those are my numbers.
Those are mine. All mine.
Makes up for the times you were hoping there was a power failure.
Or maybe there's a few light bulbs out.
Right. And they can't tell. Maybe that's supposed to be a 3.
It's supposed to. And a good slider to strike out Hundley.
2 strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning for Hamels. He has not been able to figure out Troy Tulowitzki, a pair of solo home runs.
A Fan Friday question about Nolan. Intrinsic Vibe wants to know if any players won 3 straight Gold Gloves to start their career. Hopefully Nolan does that. The only player that has done that is Ichiro, and he did it in his first 10. Now, I know it's Ichiro, and he came over from Japan. A little bit of a different story, but hopefully Nolan's going to be able to do that. Don't forget, use the hashtag FanFridayZBB. You could possibly win Zach Brown Band tickets to go to Coors Field and see him. But you got to ask us a question. You got to have some content. Right, Drew and Jeff?
Not just I want the tickets?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, a little content.
How about that curveball to start out the at-bat? 0-1 on Ben Revere. And another curveball. DJ's got it. Yeah, you have to ask questions. We have to make you earn your tickets to see Zach Brown Band. First 10 have been retired tonight by Chad Bettis, and that'll bring up Freddie Galvis.
And 5 of them have been on the ground.
Freddie Galvis probably hit the ball the best of any hitter so far tonight for Philadelphia. He hit a ball pretty well toward right center field, and Brandon Barnes got a great jump and ran it down pretty easily, but he's going to have another opportunity here, deep center field, but playable. 2 outs.
Well, don't forget June 1st. Yeah, June 1st is Purple Monday, this coming Monday. Wear purple, win prizes. The first 5,000 fans will receive a Purple Monday t-shirt.
Chase Utley bounced to Tulowitzki on the right side, his first time up. Troy wanders over to that side right now, joined by DJ LeMahieu and Willeen Rosario.
And for now, Nolan playing the normal third base position, so you take away the bunt.
It's a strike on the outside corner.
Kind of wander there, Nolan, that is, until he feels like Chase isn't going to lay it down, and definitely with 2 strikes he'll go to a normal shortstop position.
That's also a strike, so now he'll move back, as you said, to a normal shortstop spot. Working inside and outside with great command, Chad Bettis. Here's the 0-2. Spikes a curveball, 1-2.
You'd rather have the spike than the hanger.
He's commanded the curveball. He's thrown some outstanding changeups.
Tanya, I'm with you. I like these quick, fast innings from Chad.
Leaves a hitter wondering. He's going to get the curveball again. 2-2. I saw Bettis on a number of occasions in the last ball game go get 95, 96. He's a strong guy. Curveball got him. Went back to it again, and he strikes out Utley. He has retired the first 12 tonight. The Rockies up 2-0. Brought to you by Ford Escape. Smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape. Go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Rafael Noah in the top of the 5th inning will lead things off. Fastballs away. Actually, a changeup from Cole Hamels. Ball 1. Rockies up 2-0 on a pair of solo home runs from Troy Tulowitzki, his 3rd and 4th home runs of the year. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Mark Staff from Citizens Bank Park. Another changeup. Noah's out front.
And those 2 pitches to Troy are the only 2 mistakes that Cole Hamels made tonight.
He has pitched very well. Chad Bettis has been impeccable.
66 pitches for Cole, 43 strikes.
Bettis on deck. His performance so far tonight reminiscent of what he did against the Giants. Quick and efficient innings. 1-2 on Inoa. And strikeout number 5 for Hamels.
Well, Cole had come into the ball game averaging more, almost a strikeout per inning pitch. He had 67 strikeouts and 66 in the 3rd innings.
Chad worked the count full his first time up and then struck out looking. He never swung the bat. And I'm interested to see if he's going to swing it here. He may just be content to keep his hands pain-free.
Maybe he's just waiting for that one pitch. I think that's what he is. He just wants that one that looks like a beach ball. Going with that.
Well, maybe
okay.
He's right because he fired right there. It's 1-2. Rockies are 11-13 for Walt out on the road, 8-13 at home. Hopefully get some good weather and the Rockies getting an offensive groove in their home ballpark. Start turning around that record. think about 11 wins, Huey, out on the road a year ago, just 21 wins away from Coors Field. 2-2. And again, Bettis able to work Cole Hamels.
It takes a good set of eyes to lay off that pitch that's fraction off the forward strike zone.
That's down. Ball 4. So Bettis draws a walk. First allowed tonight by Cole Hamels with 1 out. That'll bring up Brandon Barnes.
First 10,000 fans through the gates on Wednesday, June 3rd, will receive a Rockies beach towel. It's sponsored by King Soopers. So Wednesday the 3rd, Drew.
King Soopers Rockies beach towel. Got it. Barnes bluffed a bunt. 1-0 on Brandon. Strikeout and fly ball to right.
And for me, if you're going to bunt off of Cole Hamels because he does fall to the third base side, you have to push it and involve Ryan Howard at first base. And then just let it become a foot race to the bag.
Popped up. Chase Utley's going to make the catch. 2 outs. Well, that'll bring up DJ LeMahieu, who's hit the ball very hard twice. A line drive to center and pulled up long enough for Herrera to make the catch. And then a line drive right at Cody Ashley in left field.
So you know what this means? He's going to hit a broken bat or a nubber or something that just falls for a base hit because he's hit too hard.
That is what's supposed to happen.
Doesn't work out that way every time, but it should.
Tulowitzki waiting for his 3rd at bat, as we all are. Swung on and missed. 1-2. Or 0-2, I should say. It's fouled off. You know, when I look out from our vantage point here at Citizens Bank Park and I see the 409 sign and you pull back that corner out there, I always think of Todd Helton, because in his first postseason swing of his career, he was here in Philadelphia. Rockies would go on in 07 to sweep the Phils, as we all know. He hit a triple and it bounced off the wall out there, which is a long way.
See him legging out around second base.
It set a tone for the Rockies' run, I thought, in that postseason, and it also was, you know, for Todd personally, what a special moment. I mean, he waited so long to get to the postseason, and he wasn't going to waste time getting after it.
You know, also during that time, there was talk earlier in the year: was he going to be traded? You know, so he could make the postseason.
Yes, when the Red Sox stuff came up.
Yes.
Chad Bettis at first. He walked. There's 2 outs. Rockies up 2-0 on 2 solo home runs to left from Troy Tulowitzki. And that's gloved by Hamels. Middle of 5, the Rockies leading 2-0. Middle of inning number 5, Troy Tulowitzki's 11th career multi-home run game. Worked all day yesterday on his stroke, and he's hit 2 home runs against Cole Hamels. Chad Bettis has been perfect through 4. Cole Hamels has been good, but this guy's been better. And Bettis in the 5th will face Ryan Howard, Maikel Franco, and Cody Ashe. Ryan Howard swung at the first pitch. His initial at bat bounced to Willeen Rosario. Howard, after a very difficult April, has come on in the month of May. In fact, he didn't hit a home run until April 21st. He has 10 since then. He had 2 in Denver last week. He's out in front of a curveball. Bettis has been able to drop that curveball in for a first pitch strike.
And also strike guys out through 3 in a row to Chase Utley to retire him in the bottom half of the 4th inning. That was just the 50th pitch thrown by Bettis tonight. 32 for strikes.
And again, that's what reminds me so much. It has to remind all of you as well of the Giant game where he had 85 pitches going into the 9th inning. Talked to Steve Foster for a while tonight, the Rockies pitching coach, and he said that Bettis has really taken to, this is in the air to center field. Actually, it's hit better than Barnes thought, but Brandon leaps and makes the catch.
What were you talking about, the 409 earlier? Because that was at about 408 feet.
Well, first off the bat, you thought it was routine, and certainly watching Barnes, you thought it was routine. Then all of a sudden, he hightailed it back. No problem, I got it.
Well, and then factor in the third thing with the sky, because Brandon lost this for a moment. He didn't immediately break on this baseball, but now he knows where he is with this wall. Little slight jump. I've got it. All's good.
And Barnes has been mostly playing one of the corner spots. Here's Franco and a shattered bat, and that ends up almost as far as the baseball went. So to finish the story, Steve Foster, well, here's the catch again. Steve Foster and Darren Holmes been working diligently with Chad about staying over the rubber longer and using your hips. So you'll notice his knee will come up and he'll drop his knee before he pushes off on his right leg to the plate, and they feel like that will help him ride his hips longer, and that's one of the reasons they believe he's added a couple of miles an hour on his velocity.
Well, and just look, and that's where some of the power comes from, is your core area. And Chad has very strong legs. And so from Evan wants to know what has improved with Bettis compared to last year, mechanics or confidence. Well, Evan, Drew answered part of this with the mechanics allowing him to stay over the rubber, but because of that, your confidence grows. So I think it's a case where both of those things are involved in really the growth of Chad. And the third thing I'll add to that is he knows what his role is now. He knows he's a starting pitcher. 2 years ago, he was a starter, maybe sometimes in the bullpen. Last year, bullpen guy. This year, starter. They told him, this is what we want you to do. Now you need to figure out how to do it.
1-2, big bouncer to Tulowitzki, and he'll throw out Franco by plenty. Well, one of the other interesting things I thought Steve Foster said was that, you know, when you communicate something, you're teaching somebody something new. Oftentimes you can get your point across in a way when it's multiple people telling you something and maybe you understand it. It's going to be explained in different ways, right? And it gives you a different way of understanding it. And he gave Darren Holmes a great deal of credit. He said he's great with mechanics. And Chad, to his credit, has really taken to this, and we're seeing the results the last few outings.
People learn in different ways, whether you're somebody talking to you, you read about it, or you're visual about how you learn. And so if somebody tells you something, you might not grasp it. 5 people later might be telling you the same thing, but the way they say it Say, oh yeah, it clicks immediately. That's why you work well with some hitting coaches, other hitting coaches you don't, but just because of what he said or how he said it to you.
Fouled off by Cody Ashe. Those 14 retired tonight by Chad Bettis, former second-round pick of the Rockies out of Texas Tech. And this is an easy play. He is without a blemish through 5 innings. Chad Bettis and the Rockies up 2-0.
Two nothing through 5 innings here at Citizens Bank Park. There's Troy Tulowitzki with homers in his first 2 ABs. We have a Fan Friday question for you. And this is from David. Wants to know if Tulo's ever hit 3 or 4 homers in a game. He has not. But the last time we think a Rocky did hit 3 in a game was here on May 19, 2011. Jason Giambi, the first 2 off Kyle Kendrick, now of the Rockies, and the third off of Dennis Baez. So the Big G hit those 3 in that game. And guys, I think we were all here for that game. I'll never forget it, walking the concourse, and the guy says to me, "Is Giambi still playing?" I said, "Yeah." And he's jacking 3 homers on him.
And that last one was hit in the rain.
Yeah, they were all monster shots, too. This ball is ripped through the left side of base hit. So Cole Hamels keeps Tulowitzki in the ballpark, but the Rockies have the leadoff man on, up 2-0 here in the top of the 6th. And that'll bring up Cargo. Cargo had a base hit and a ground out. He's 1 for 2.
And Cargo was the last Rocky to hit 3 home runs in a game, and that was last year at Cincinnati. Excuse me, 2 years ago, 2013.
Cargo had that run, what was it, 3 years ago, where he hit a home run in 4 straight at bats over 2 days.
I think that's right, yeah. He'd also had 3 home runs in a game back in 2012, so he did it back-to-back years.
We were discussing this when the Phillies were in town. Cargo's coming out party for me was in the playoffs in 2009. Rockies lost, but he went 10 for 17. Leading off in that series against Philadelphia, and then the next year he won a batting title. He hit 34 home runs. Two strikes on Cargo.
That was the year that Phillies lost in the World Series after winning it the year before.
like the Rockies were going to head back to Philadelphia for Game 5. Rockies unfortunately couldn't hold that 4-2 lead in the ninth in Game 4. This gets away for a moment. Troy's going to try to move up, and he's out. Boy, that was a good pickup by Utley at second. If not for a great pickup, Troy's going to be in there.
Well, and for Utley, he let the short hop come to him rather than try to go out and reach and get it. Breaking pitch down and away from Ruiz, spins and throws. Now watch the throw as it skips into Utley, and then he just catches it and lets the momentum of the baseball take it back to that slide tag.
That's about the only place that could have been where you were going to get an out call.
Yeah, if it's a waste or above, it's not happening. Troy's safe.
2-2. 2 outs. Strikeout number 6 for Hamels. The Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. Nolan Arenado drove in 3 runs Wednesday in Cincinnati. It's the 6th time this year that he has driven in 3 or more in a ball game. Coming into this year, he had done that only 5 times. The guy who's emerging. You know about the glove. People around baseball are learning how potent the bat is as well.
Well, 6 of his 10 home runs have been with 2 outs. So it's not, oh, I'm going to do it when there's no pressure.
Here's the other thing that's really impressive. Last year he had 18 home runs. That's impressive. 16 came at Coors Field. This year he has 10 home runs. The vast majority have come on the road. 8 of 10 on the road.
And most of them are pole home runs, and that's okay. People will say, well, he needs to hit them to right field. No, a home run's a home run.
He's trotting around the bases, it's a good thing.
You're saying, okay. Last year, 18, 3 of them, 5 of them came to left center to center. This year, more of them are to left field. That's okay.
And Cole Hamels with another strikeout. He's been good. Chad Bettis has been perfect. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 2-0 Colorado. The 6th inning. And we have a tweet. What's the latest news on David Dahl? I hope the surgery went well for such a promising prospect. And if you're unfamiliar with what occurred, David Dahl had a collision last night on the field, and he had a lacerated spleen. He underwent surgery to repair the lacerated spleen, and there's no timetable for when he will be back. I know his dad has tweeted out some things as well, but that was a scary collision on a pop fly, and shallow center field. And this from David Dahl yesterday. Thank you for all the thoughts and prayers. Was a fluke incident, but God has a plan for me. Mine is set back for a major comeback. So it sounds like David is in good spirits. 1-0 on Odubel Herrera, and that's in there for a strike.
Well, last year in the same stadium, Buxton for Minnesota, the top prospect in all of baseball, had a collision there. Byron Buxton in Connecticut, and he missed the rest of the year. So hopefully it's not anything with the stadium.
Line drive right at DJ LeMahieu, 1 out. Let me ask you this: you played middle infield for more than a decade in the big leagues. Is that the scariest moment?
Yes.
When you're going back on a baseball and it's going hard, not one clearly that you're going to be able to turn around and catch, where the outfielder's not sure, it's kind of in no man's land?
Yes, it's so scary because you keep hoping and thinking that the guy's going to call you off, but you can't call it. He can't call it because neither one of you think you're going to be able to get to it. And you just hope that when you reach out there or he's coming in, that you'll be able to see something out of the corner of your eye. And this is last night, and this is in no man's land. You got guys running there, and then you have the collision.
Barnes in right center runs this down off the bat of Carlos Ruiz. Second nice running catch tonight by Brandon Barnes.
On the third good catch, he had the 2 running catches into right center field, and then that blast off the bat of Ryan Howard to dead center field that he had to turn and run on the sprint. Playing in the off gap already because that's Carlos Ruiz's sweet spot. He likes to hit it that way. And then the jump by Brandon, right on the money.
Cole Hamels takes a strike and then looks up and away and doesn't say anything because he wants Angel Hernandez on his side. Change up, and it's 0-2.
He struck him out in the third inning with the curveball. He goes back to it. Yep, tried to.
Bettis is averaging basically 11 pitches an inning. That's ridiculous.
And anything under 17 pitches for the innings considered good.
And he swings over the top of the curveball. That is strikeout number 4. 18 in a row to begin for Chad Bettis. Pair of home runs, and Chad Bettis has not allowed a thing as we have reached the top of the 7th inning. National League All-Star balloting. The All-Star game will be played in Cincinnati on the 14th. Matt Holliday, our old friend, leading in left field. Bryce Harper deserving in center. And you go through the list, there are a lot of Cardinals there. And of course, there are a couple Rockies that I think are deserving. Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu of being involved. Kansas City's getting out the vote, aren't they? Lorenzo Cain, Alex Gordon, Moustakas had a good year.
Perez,
Salvador Perez.
1.5 million votes.
Willeen Rosario, a ground ball to short and a fly ball to center field. Cole Hamels, his last 4 outings, has been as good as any pitcher in baseball. Last 7, 5-1 with a 2.23.
It would be the second longest winning streak of his career. 2 other times he's won 5 in a row. One's back in 2010, the other is 2012.
It'll be interesting how it plays out with Cole Hamels. Ruben Amaro Jr. I'm sure his phone's ringing off the hook on a regular basis for teams interested in Hamels. And if not yet, soon that will be the case.
The other guy that's going to pitch tomorrow night, Aaron Harang. I mean, he's not going to get the stockpile of prospects that Cole Hamels would get. But Harang is definitely garnering some interest.
Slowly hit to third. Franco.
Dollar hot dogs are back for the 2015 season, and the first 10,000 fans on Tuesday, June 2nd, will receive a coupon for a $1 hot dog. Get your tickets now.
Nick Hundley, a base hit in the second. He struck out swinging in the fourth. More on Cole Hamels. You go back to June 1st of last year, and this is basically a calendar year because this will be the final start in May, obviously, for Cole Hamels, this being May 29th. This ball's in the air to really deep left center field, but it's one of the deepest portions of the park, and Herrera makes the catch. Well, you go back to June 1st of last year, Hamels has an ERA of 3.26. Actually, that's his career ERA, and that's exceeded only by Adam Wainwright and Felix Hernandez. And since June 1st of last year, he's posted a 2.23 ERA. Only Felix Hernandez and Clayton Kershaw have lower ERAs in that time frame. That's how effective he's been.
And that's why he's so highly sought after. The quality starts are off the chart. I'm not a huge fan of quality starts, but for him, the numbers do fit that stat. But tonight, it's about the guy on the on-deck circle, Chad Bettis.
One and two on Rafael Noah.
He's just hoping if you're Raf, you can get on base, you can let Chad get through this inning, just flip the lineup, but also to focus just on pitching.
Five in a row set down by Hamels. middle of 7, and the Rockies leading 2-0. Lexus look back, Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. Troy Tulowitzki took batting practice on his day off. Not what one normally does with their day off, but Troy trying to find that power stroke again, and he has found it tonight. 2 solo home runs against Cole Hamels. And Chad Bettis, look at that line. 69 pitches in 6 innings, and zeros in the columns that you want them. So here we go, bottom of the 7th inning. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, and Mark Stout. And the first pitch is high and away to Ben Revere, a strikeout and a ground ball to second. Brandon Barnes has moved to left, and Charlie Blackmon, the everyday center fielder, is out there. So Rafael Noah, who doesn't have a great deal of experience in the outfield, hit last inning, and he comes out.
It's the first time tonight Chad's fallen behind 2-0.
And that's in there on the outside corner.
So you're going well when you throw a 2-0 change up because you have the confidence in it.
Most pitches he's thrown in the inning was the first when he threw 18. Back up the middle, Tulo's there, and it goes off his glove. And we'll see how that one is scored. Obviously, that breaks up the perfect game. Revere runs well. I'm not sure, though, if Troy fields this, because it was hit hard. Troy fields this, he's going to throw him out.
Because he's shaded up the middle. It hops up, and then it just went underneath the glove of Troy. Off the mound, 3 hops.
And remember, we're in Philadelphia. But
I think they'll give him an error.
That's a play. I mean, Jeff, go back to your days playing shortstop. That's a play I guarantee you Troy would say he's got to make.
And it will go down as an error, and I agree with the official ruling. He just didn't get the glove down far enough. And there it is. Remember, the last time that Chad had to throw out of the stretch was the last few throws down in the bullpen. So that was at 6:45 local time.
Galvis has twice hit the ball in the air to center field. And this ball in the air to center, and Blackmon makes the catch. Well, whether it's been Brandon Barnes in center tonight or now Charlie Blackmon, they have been the stars defensively.
And both of the balls that Galvis has hit to right center field have been the sinking line drives. Brandon makes a play, and now Charlie, who just went in for defense in the bottom half of this inning, makes a sliding grab to rob Freddie of a hit.
Chase Utley, a ground ball to short, and a strikeout.
We still have to watch Ben Revere at first. Just a 2-0 game. Has 9 steals, been only caught 3 times.
Did he go? Nope.
There was more body involved in that check swing than actual bat motion. Christian Friedrich just in case.
Well, you have to do this. Not that you're going to make a move, but the number one job is to win the ball game. And Hamill has pitched a beautiful game also. The 2 solo home runs notwithstanding. That's it. It's a 2-run ball game.
And you have 2 left-handers hitting 6th and 7th tonight. Cody Ashe and then Herrera. So that's why Christian is up.
And that's fouled off. It's 1-2. Mostly, Jeff, 91 to 93 with the fastball. But again, it's the command of the secondary pitches. On the rare occasion he's gotten behind, we've seen 2-0 changeups, and he's had a tremendous curveball again. Going back to what Steve Foster told us earlier, he thinks the ability to stay over the rubber longer, something he's been working on, which has helped his velocity, has also helped that curveball.
Because it allows the arm to get on top of the motion. So when you yank down on that curveball and come up over the top, your arm's not playing catch up. So you cast it towards home plate. You actually finish out in front and make it bite. Make that curveball bite to the ground.
Log on to CFD Rodeo /Aerosmith for your opportunity to win tickets to see Aerosmith in concert Wednesday, July 22nd at Cheyenne Frontier Days. 1 out. Ben Revere reached on the error by Tulowitzki. The first man to reach today for Philadelphia. Runner going, and it's a ground ball to first, and only 1 play, and that's just a step on the bag for Wallin. 2 outs, and Revere at second base.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or in demand in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions may apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Well, Ryan Howard was robbed of perhaps a home run his last time up by Brandon Barnes. This is easily the biggest at bat of this ball game so far, because this is a guy that's hot, and we all know how far he can hit the baseball and how frequently in his career he's hit it over the wall, and it's a 2-0 game and there's a man on base.
And it's a hot and humid night.
This won't get it done. DJ on the outfield grass will throw him out. So the perfecto is gone. Tulowitzki commits an error, but the Rockies lead 2-0 as we go to the 8th. Chad Bettis will lead off, and the first pitch is outside. He has worked the count full in both of his first 2 at bats. He struck out looking in the second, and then he drew a walk in the 5th. Hamels has allowed just 5 hits, 2 that went over the wall. Troy Tulowitzki's first 2 at bats, he hit balls deep into the seats and left. His first home run was his first in 34 days. And I'm sure Walt Weiss doesn't mind that at all.
Not at all.
Well, let's flash back 5 years ago, folks, amazingly to the day. In South Florida, the Phillies against the Marlins. And Arvada West, Roy Halladay, is on the mound, and the Marlins got nothing all evening. This was the final out, the 27th out, 27 in a row, 20th perfect game in Major League Baseball history. There have been 23 now, and by the way, if you recall, Doc Halladay threw 2 no-hitters that year, the perfect game we just showed you, 5 years ago to the day.
The other one was in the playoffs.
The other one was in the postseason. Not a lot of folks chatting up Chad Bettis right now. 1-1 on Barnes, and that's fouled off.
Bill Paulson has his first baseman mitt on. I know he's going to go in this bottom half of the inning to go play first.
Well, you start thinking about defense late in the game when you have a lead, and you think that much more about defense with the circumstances that have unfolded so far. You saw that Blackman went in last inning. You know it already hit. Rosario will not have that luxury. Walt's going to put Ben Paulson in his best defensive first baseman available. When I say available, obviously Justin Morneau is back in Denver watching and recovering from concussion-like symptoms. So Ben Paulson, a natural first baseman, I'm sure will find the field here in a moment. The day after every Rockies win, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. The promo code's ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com.
Baseball is about playing to the scoreboard. That's what the game is. So now you're playing for those to get those 6 outs. That's the point you're at in this game. Managers will always tell you that dictates how you attack everything defensively or offensively.
Maikel Franco, Cody Ashe, and Odubel Herrera in the bottom half of the 8th inning for the Phillies. 0-2 count on DJ. The perfect games after Roy Halladay: Philip Umber, Matt Cain, and King Felix. And that is knocked down by Cole Hamels. So Hamels quietly, he's been overshadowed, but he has retired 8 in a row. 2-0 Rockies. The bottom of the 8th inning, and tonight's game changer is brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, Chad Bettis, as he did in his last outing, working into the 9th inning against the Giants, just pounded the strike zone with an assortment of pitches, and he has had that curveball all night, as he had against the Giants. So here we go. Maikel Franco gets a changeup to start, and it's low, ball 1. Ben Paulson is now in the ball game, as we chatted about at first base, and Franco swings and fouls it off. Bettis has worked very quickly throughout. He's thrown only 84 pitches.
54 for strikes, just 30 balls, and I can't really remember even among those 30 that were so wild that she said, well, that was clearly out of the hand, looking like it was going to be a ball. And that's how focused and laser-like he's been tonight.
Franco, a pop out and a ground ball to short. Here's the 1-1. Bettis has had a good fastball. He's had good movement. Talked about the curveball. The changeup has been there for him also. He hasn't had the electric fastball tonight.
The 96 where the extra giddy up. But he and Nick have worked well together as far as how they want to go after the hitters. Is it going to be inside or is it outside? You want to start him off with a get me over off-speed pitch.
He's got him set up for the curveball, I would think, again.
He's got him set up for anything he wants to throw. These hitters don't know what's coming.
It's a curveball, obviously. It missed 2-2. Nerve-wracking for all watching, particularly the pitching coach Steve Foster, the manager Walt Weiss. Swung on and missed. A strikeout of Franco. That's number 5 tonight for Bettis. 1 out in the 8th.
A little harder changeup than he's thrown. Skipper off the plate, and then the scoop by Nick right in the glove. Make sure you come up and tag him out. Was that, I don't know, curveball, changeup, split? I mean, it didn't have the curveball, the hard curveball action.
It's hard to tell. Looked like it may have been a curveball.
86 miles an hour.
Would have been a hard curveball.
That's when you know you're throwing well.
Yeah.
When you're trying to sit here and think about the hitters that are in the box saying it's 60 feet 6 inches away.
Cody Ashley at the plate, and that's a base hit to left center field. It would have been a ground ball to short. The Rockies had the shift on. And Chad Bettis goes 7 1/3 of no-hit baseball.
But how about these knowledgeable Philly fans? I mean, they're kind of standing up. I know they're thinking about Cody Ashley, but there are a lot of people in the stands know that there was a no-hitter going on. I mean,
well, if they don't know, they've been drinking too much.
Yeah, but just to say, hey, great job on both ends. But yeah, sinking ball away, Chad, that's all you can do. You can look up.
And he's laughing because, you know, the shifts take it away most of the time.
Well,
that time, again, it would have been a routine ground ball, but you
play the percentages.
You play the percentages. So Cody Ashley breaks it up with 1 out in the 8th. And the only other pitcher to go this far with a no-hitter in Rockies history succeeded on throwing a no-hitter, of course, and that was in 2010 at Turner Field in Atlanta, Georgia, when Ubaldo Jimenez turned the trick against the Braves. And now it's about the business of winning the baseball game, because it's not as if the Rockies are up 8-0 and it's, you know, a foregone conclusion who's going to win.
Yeah, don't lose your focus.
And that's why immediately Nick Hundley went out. DJ LeMahieu came in. And it's 2-0 right after the base hit on Herrera. Chad Bettis was saying in that last outing where he had the shutout going into the 9th inning and a dominant one. Very often you're not dominant if you have a shutout. And he said his legs got tired in the last 2 innings and they had to go get him in the 9th inning after 1 out. And now it's 3-1.
And what happens when your legs get tired? The pitches will be elevated. But that also teaches you something about yourself. When you know that your legs are getting tired, you see Boone Logan and Rafael Betancourt, 2 veteran pitchers up. But that tells you something about the mental side of the game. Okay, I got tired in my last game. My legs got tired. Now I know what that feels like. Let me try to finish this game tonight.
And again, 3-1, not giving in with the fastball. And it's 3-2 on Odubel Herrera.
And that's the difference for Herrera between the Texas League where he played last year and the big leagues. You don't see 3-1 changeups in Double-A. Swung on, foul tip held by Hundley, and that is the 2nd out in the 8th inning.
It is also the 6th strikeout for Chad Bettis.
It's just so much fun when a pitcher is in control. He knows what he wants to throw, and he can throw it at any moment.
That curveball, Huey, put yourself back in the batter's box. That is a great equalizer. You're talking about how does a pitcher elevate himself from being, run of the mill, from being a back of the rotation guy, moving up to where you say he's a high quality middle of the rotation guy. And then how do you get to the front of a rotation? You have to have great stuff and great command. That curveball is a tremendous pitch.
Yeah, and not just of one pitch, but you're talking 3 pitches.
This is in the air to shallow right, and this is going to drop. And it's 1st and 3rd, not well hit by Ruiz, but it found some empty grass. And now, obviously, Hamels will be removed for a pinch hitter. And we'll see how Walt plays this. Again, Bettis' stuff is still outstanding at 98 pitches.
This is just a little blue sand wedge to right field. On the label, Ruiz was robbed by Charlie Blackmon with a sliding diving catch last time up, and this time he just loops it in no man's land.
Darren Ruff. And this is going to be a conversation first. We saw Walt do this the last time Bettis was on the mound late. You can just tell, because when Walt's making a move, it's a much slower walk. He wants to look in his eye. He wants to gauge where the 26-year-old is.
And you also have to now, if you're going to go to the bullpen, make the move or signal sooner than you used to. You used to be able to walk out there, chat for a minute, and then make the signal. Walt said, no, I know what I need to know from Chad.
Ruff is 1 for 8 pinch hitting, but that one was a home run. He's got pop.
This is okay. This is a growth moment for Chad. 98 pitches. That's not bad. You're in the 8th inning.
And now the tying run at first base, Carlos Ruiz, and you're going to get a pinch hitter for Ruiz. Running for Ruiz is Andres Blanco. Two outs, 1st and 3rd. Darren Ruff at the plate. And strike 1.
Guarantee you Ruff was looking for a curveball or changeup, because as a pinch hitter, you come off the bench, you're looking for the first fastball you see, and that was a 94 mile an hour from Chad.
He's reaching back. Anything that's left in the tank, he's going to get right now. Those are 2 of the hardest pitches he has thrown tonight. Right at the 100 pitch mark. Good block by Nick Hundley. Check swing. And he went around. They checked it out at first base with Scott Barry, and he indicated it was a strike.
So Nick had so much going through his mind. He had to think about blocking it. He had a runner at third base, runner at first base, and even before he picks up the ball, he is pointing down to the first base umpire, Scott Barry. Look, he's pointing before he picks it up, because he knows that he swung, and he did.
Just missed. 2-2. Bettis wanted that one. You would assume that if he can get through this, Walt will turn it over to John Axford in the 9th. 2-2. Ground ball foul.
Don't miss the action at Coors Field when the Dodgers, Marlins, and Cardinals come to town June 1st through the 10th. Tickets are available. Go to Rockies.com/tickets and get yours today.
Here's the 2-2 again. Did he go? He did. Angel Hernandez at home plate rings him up. And Bettis works out of it. He loses the no-hitter on a bleeder through the left side, and then there was a bloop single as well. Chad Bettis goes 7 1/3 of no-hit innings. And we'll go to the 9th. The Rockies up 2-0 in Philadelphia. What a performance. First choice for winning. It's also your first choice for fun. It has been fun watching Chad Bettis tonight. What an unbelievable performance. A no-hitter for 7 1/3. He flirted with a perfect game. And it looks like his evening will be done after 8 stellar innings. 2-hit baseball. Let's go to our Denver studios. Jenny Cavnar. Jenny? All right, Jenny, thank you. Spilly, 2-0 Rockies. They could use some insurance, and this guy's provided the entire offensive output tonight. Troy Tulowitzki in a home run slump. Had not hit a home run since April 25th. He has 2 tonight, both against Cole Hamels. He's also got a single tonight, so he has 3 of the Rockies' 5 hits, and he's got a 4-for-4 day. We'll keep coming back to hard work paying off, and it's not like Troy doesn't work hard every day. He does, but on his day off, he spent a good portion of it here at Citizens Bank Park taking batting practice by himself. And he's 4-for-4. Luis Garcia is now in the ball game, by the way, for Cole Hamels.
And for Garcia, he is tied for 9th with the 23 games he's appeared in the National League. Last year, he was the pitcher of the year in the minors for the Philadelphia Phillies. Righties just hitting a mere 172. Lefties well over 400.
It'd be great to see Cargo, who hasn't run into one in a while either, run into one right here and expand that lead.
Be a good night for the boys to go back to back. I mean, as far as home runs in the same game, not back to back, obviously, because Troy's just a single.
Outside and high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cargo had a base hit his first time up, a ground out and a strikeout in his other 2 at bats against Cole Hamels. Well inside, 2-1. So Bettis in his last outing goes 8 1/3 against one of the top offenses in baseball this season, the Giants. He gives up 2 runs on 6 hits, but remember 4 of those hits and the 2 runs came in the ninth inning.
Because he gave up the leadoff single to start the game in the first, didn't give up another hit until the 8th. Had a walk in the 4th.
He struck out 7 in that ball game, and tonight he goes 8 innings, didn't walk anybody, and allowed the 2 measly singles while striking out 7 again. He can smile and breathe right now.
He had 10 ground ball outs tonight, just 3 flyouts.
And you see Tyler Chatwood in the picture, and behind him, let's not forget the work that the guy in the middle behind him has done, Nick Hundley.
And this was just the 4th time that Nick and Chad had worked together. I mean, compare that on the flip side with Cole Hamels and Ruiz. That was 197th time that they'd worked together.
Just a little more experience.
Just a little more. 197 times those two had worked together. Just 4 for that man right there, and Nick sitting behind him.
That's when you start naming your kids after the guy, right? 3-2. Well, I mean, you know, for years, could you say Stockton without saying Malone?
No. Pippen and Jordan.
When you have great, when you have great batteries, it's kind of a similar thing. And here in Philadelphia, when you think of Cole Hamels and Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay, I mean, Carlos Ruiz is not far from those sentences. He's the guy who caught most of their work. That bounces up there, and now the Rockies have 2 on and nobody out here in the top of the 9th inning with Nolan Arenado coming up. A reminder, if you want tacos, follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. And Cameron Rupp is the new catcher, by the way, for the Phillies. It was Carlos Ruiz, who we've been talking about, was pinch run for last inning. Cameron Rupp back there. John Ashford waiting. He'll have the 9th inning.
Toss every once in a while, then he'll take a break. And Michael, you're right. He has had 2 spectacular starts. 8 1/3 last one, 8 tonight.
Talk about injecting some life into a club. We talked about how Brandon Barnes did that last week with just his presence, and obviously he swung the bat well. That's a strike on Arenado. Coming up from Albuquerque. Rockies have been scuffling for several weeks. The weather had been bad. They're not hitting, not winning. And how about what Chad Bettis has done the last few starts? Rotation, looking for somebody to grab the reins and run. And Jorge De La Rosa, when he's right, obviously has that ability, but one of the young pitchers to really step forward. Keep talking about Eddie Butler, and he's had some moments where he's shown progress. Obviously Jonathan Gray, a work in progress down in Albuquerque, but now Chad Bettis, almost forgotten,
right,
coming out of the spring. And look what he's done.
Yeah, and the Rockies have won 4 out of their last 5 because of guys like a Chad Bettis, a David Hale, Chris Russin.
Yep. This ball ripped down the line, foul.
So these are 3 guys that weren't in your opening starting rotation, your starting 5.
That's right.
And they've come up, and coming into the game, the starters had a collective ERA of 3.31 in those last 5 games. It's no secret.
It's no
how
secret.
This game is played.
No, it's not. It's said for generation after generation. It ultimately is about pitching, and it's ultimately, quite frankly, about starting pitching, because you want those guys out there for a long period of time. Use your bullpen when you want to, not when you need to or have to.
Yeah, where you're rushing them into the game in the 5th inning. That just wears them out.
Good eye from Nolan.
But the previous 40 games for the Rockies, the ERA was 5.37, so almost 2 runs more per ball game.
You know, when the Rockies began the season 7-2, they were getting very solid starting pitching. And Kyle Kendrick started it out with the shutout performance over 7 innings in Milwaukee. He's pitching well also last 4 games. Did he hold up? Yes, he did. 3-2. You know what? Nolan was holding his breath. I'm not sure he was sure which way that was going to go.
I told you what goes through a hitter's mind when you check swing and
ooh, somebody's got tossed. Is that Rhino?
I think so.
Angel
because he was
Hernandez
upset.
Just tossed. One would assume it was Ryan Sandberg.
And he was upset because he didn't think Ruff had swung last half inning, and he was barking.
Ryan Sandberg's doing all the talking. You know Angel Hernandez hasn't said a word.
Yeah. They just said, get your money's worth. But I checked down to first base and Scott Berry. Well, that's real close.
Honestly, you see those get rung up also. It could have gone either way. And Angel Hernandez tossing out Ryan Sandberg.
First ejection this year for Ryan, second of his career.
3-2, 2 on, nobody out. Arenado at the plate, Tulowitzki and Cargo aboard. And that's line caught, and it's going to turn into a double play. Maikel Franco caught it. And Tulowitzki's doubled off second. Nothing Troy could do. Nothing Nolan could do either. He can't hit it much better.
Hit it on the button to Franco. Right out of the glove to Chase Utley. By the time you get your secondary lead at second base, you're probably a good 35, 40 feet off of second. So when he catches it, you go back and there's really nothing you can do.
Ben Paulson up there. This is where, you know, Cargo legs feel much better. Explained that throughout the first couple of months of the season, really going back to spring training. It's not a bad running situation right now.
And you also have a catcher behind the plate that just came in this inning. So has he had a chance to get really loose?
This ball's drilled to left center field and deep. Herrera's not going to catch it, and it's gone. Over the fence at the 387 mark. Ben Paulson off the bench and into the book with a 2-run home run, and the Rockies lead it 4-0 on the second home run of the year for Paulson.
And some breathing room. I mean, you're not sitting there chewing on your fingernails now.
Boy, he stayed behind that, didn't he?
And his other home run was in center field. And this one is in left center field, so you have to stay behind it. If they're going to put you in for defense, you might as well get in the scorebook in a great way.
Don't forget my offense either, right? 3 home runs tonight for the Rockies. 2 by Troy Tulowitzki, and now Ben Paulson. Two on Nick. He has one of the Rockies' 7 hits. Troy's been a hog. He's got 4 of them.
He just wanted to join the party.
And this is a pop-up on the right side. Ryan Howard will make the catch. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies get 2 off of Carlos Ruiz, or Luis Garcia, I should say. And it's Ben Paulson with a 2-run home run. And the Rockies have a 4-0 lead. 3 outs from shaking hands. For 4-0. John Axford will try to get the last 3 outs. Or Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Normally it's a guy who hits 2 home runs and has 4 hits, but Troy Tulowitzki will gladly take a back seat to this performance by Chad Bettis. 6 perfect innings. He took a no-hitter into the 8th inning. He goes 7 1/3 no-hit innings, and he finishes 2 hits over 8 innings, no runs, no walks, 7 punch-outs. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game.
And I just like the emotion he showed after that strikeout. That's okay.
You know what? There's so many things to love about what he's done, clearly. But maybe more than anything, how he backed up what he did at home against the Giants. Not sitting back and saying, okay, man, well, that was really good. I mean, there was focus, there was determination.
There was conviction to his pitches.
Great word.
And now it's
there was not contentment based on what he did in his last outing. So here's John Axford, no longer a quote-unquote save situation, but John will have that same focus. It'll be Ben Revere leading things off. Top man in the order for the Phillies, and he takes ball 1.
Well, John was already loose in the bullpen when that home run was hit. So rather than sit him down, get somebody back up to come out, he said, John, it's not a save, but you need to just end it right now.
Yeah, and I don't even think, even if there were time to get somebody else up, I don't think, you know, if it became a 6 or 7 run game, that's one thing. But a 4-run game, the way this team has played, with everything that's transpired the first 8 innings, Walt's saying, I'm having my big guy go out there and finish it.
And rightfully so.
Yep.
Because the focus for John doesn't change. Well, because it's not a save for me. No, this is a team win. This is what you're trying to get to.
And the team was off yesterday. That was a swing and a miss, and unfortunately it's going to result in Ben Revere going to first base. So it's going to be a strikeout wild pitch.
We've seen a few of these in the last week to 10 days.
Really have.
You'll go a month or two without seeing one. And that's a pitch that Nick needs to block. I mean, he tried to turn his glove over and backhand it instead of just dropping down because of where it hit. Drop it down and block it.
It's a tough one on a catcher. In your mind, you think you're going to catch it because it's going to stay airborne. And then when it hits the dirt and your glove is turned over, it's not, you're not in the ideal, mechanically the ideal position to block it. 1-0 on Freddie Galvis. He has 3 times hit the ball to center, and twice it's taken really good plays to keep him from reaching. Charlie Blackmon made the best one, a diving catch in the 7th inning after the error by Tulowitzki on the Revere ground ball. The no-hitter was still intact, and he lined one to center field. Charlie made a diving catch to preserve, at the time, the no-hitter. One on Galvis, and a ground ball to first. Great stop, and Paulson will get just one. Good play by Tulowitzki. That's a thinking man's play. Troy touched the bag at second and went back and threw to first in case they were saying that the tag was not necessary because he never touched the base. He obviously fell on the base.
Yeah, his right hand when he fell landed on the base, but Troy doesn't know this. As a shortstop, you have a runner coming into you, but watch Ben's right hand. He catches it, right hand on the bag. Now he pops up and makes the throw, but Troy can't see that, so he wants to double check and not rely on just what the outfield or the umpire is saying.
See what I'm seeing, I wanted to see if that would have, had they not given the out at first, then the force is still in play. And I'm seeing it, you know, Troy didn't have time to tag him. Obviously, it was a tag play. But did the ball get to the bag before the runner? See, that's what I was thinking Troy was thinking also, that it could be still a 3-6-3 conventional double play. Because initially, the first base umpire, Scott Barry, doesn't indicate out at first.
And he's not going to yell anything. He's just going to motion with his arm.
But he did. But at least in that picture, we didn't see it. And the throw was very close to beating Revere. Not in time to get a tag on him, but maybe for the fourth. It's academic now. There's
all for naught.
Yeah, there's a man on second. There's one out. Great pickup, by the way, by Paulson. 1 ball, 1 strike on Chase Utley.
Well, that's where the 2 extra runs, because of the bat of Ben, helps out your mental state. You know, it's not 2-0, it's 4. Now we're just playing for the last 2 outs.
And that's fouled off. A heavy fastball at 96. Time for the CenturyLink link to what's next. Through all the drama tonight, we haven't had time to show you the pitching matchup. Jorge De La Rosa, if that finger checks out, will go against Aaron Harang. That's a terrific matchup. Harang 4-4, but look at the ERA and what the league's hitting against him. And De La has been more like himself after a rough beginning, coming off the groin injury. Here's the 1-2, and that's in the air, left center field. That's well hit. And the leap, and oh, it's not caught by Barnes, and a run's going to score. Utley ends up at second. It's 4-1. I think he just missed it. He got back there, he leaped, and he may have had the glove go above where the ball went.
And I don't think he needed to jump. Brandon goes back. No, he didn't need to jump. He didn't know where he was in relation to the wall.
Yeah, he was in position to make, you know, a good catch. And Brandon you know, is going to tell you after the ball game that's one he should have caught. There was one out. There's a run in, runner at second. They haven't scored that, by the way, yet. This ball's in the air to shallow left. Barnes gets a good jump. Brandon will make the catch, 2 outs. And they're gonna score that an error on Barnes.
First error of the season for Brandon.
Yeah, he did the tough part.
Saved an earned run too for John.
Yeah, he did the tough part. He got back to where the baseball was. Maikel Franco with 2 outs and Utley at second base. Fastball at 97 misses, ball 1. Can't say enough about what John Axford has meant to the Rockies. Perfect in saves. Filling in for Adam Ottavino. He couldn't have pitched any better until the torn UCL.
Adam was on the pregame show a few days back. The ball club was in Cincinnati. Came into the studio. I know he watches every ball game. It's good to see him. He's getting better. Almost has full range of motion back.
It's really that surgery is amazing. Now it was a long and arduous process. It's easy to sit here and wax poetic about it. There's a lot of work in front of anybody who goes through it, but guys come back. More than 90% of pitchers come back and return to their original form. Tyler Chatwood's not far away. He's had 2 Tommy Johns. 2-0 on Franco. And 3-0. They obviously don't want to get in a position where the tying run comes to the plate. So John will take an extra moment here to regroup. Chad Bettis threw 104 pitches, 66 for strikes.
0 walks, 7 strikeouts.
That's a strike. Stay put, 3-1.
As a rookie, you don't want to do that.
Let's go, Franco, you got it.
More than 22,000 in attendance tonight at Citizens Bank Park. They have seen a tremendous performance from 26-year-old Chad Bettis. Born and raised in Lubbock, Texas, and stayed at home and played for the Red Raiders. West Texas kid.
Finish him off here and go shake hands.
Here's the 3-2.
Ow. Yeah, this is why I didn't like playing catcher in Little League. The chin or the collarbone.
You know, he took a shot, what was it, Huey, about 5 days ago,
yes,
6 days
right
ago?
In the middle
I think
of
it was on the homestand.
Yeah, it was in one of the Giants games.
2 outs. Rockies up 4-1, 2 outs in the 9th. 3-2 on Franco. Center field should stay up for Charlie. He's got it. The Rockies win it 4-1. Behind one of the great performances on the mound in Rockies.